What's got two thumbs and doesn't feel well? This guy. This is Lost Thoughts for episode 6 entitled 316. This week we'll discuss the Desmond Ben conundrum, how good it feels to shave, and ask the question, how many times have you seen season 1 of Lost? I'll be naming all of the obvious references between last night's episode and season 1. And for every season 1 reference we find, you'll hear the little chime. Bing! Your job is to leave a comment below for any references to season 1 I may have missed. From the second Jack opened his eyes, we all knew it was a throwback to the pilot episode of Lost. It had the same camera movements, it had the same background music, it had the same computer-generated eye dilation.
We interrupt this Lost recap for Theory of the Week.
There are theories that when Jack wakes up in the jungle, season 1, episode 1, he was actually placed back into the timeline of 2004. The reason being, he has to relive those months on the island until he gets it right. Remember what Locke said? You're not supposed to leave. Every time Jack was placed back into the timeline, he lost all of his previous memories as to what happened on the island. How could he forget all those things? Well, maybe he had some memory loss, a la Daniel Faraday. For a good example of reliving until you get it right, see the movie Defending Your Life. But James, if Jack keeps reliving the island over and over again, won't he just get older and older? Go to the HanzoFoundation.org. At the very bottom of the page, in fine print, it says, Life Extension Project.
And now, back to the regularly scheduled program.
Okay, so we're back on the island. Hurley, Jack, Kate. How the heck did we get there?
46 hours earlier.
It's a Dharma station. The lamppost. Could this obviously be a play on the Chronicles of Narnia lamppost? And who was this fellow that figured out how to find it in the first place? Daniel Faraday? Oliver Hanzo? This is a link to a screenshot from last night's episode, where you can clearly see the longitude and latitude on the board in the Dharma station. When you're giving longitude and latitude, it's actually in the order of latitude and longitude. I entered the coordinates into a latitude-longitude website and found out that if you enter them as they are on the board, all of the locations that you get are near the North Pole in the Arctic Ocean. But if you reverse the longitude and latitude, all of a sudden, you're getting locations in the South Pacific Ocean between Hawaii, Papua New Guinea, and Japan. So the question becomes, what is the deal with the longitude and latitude in the Dharma station? Were they wrong? Were they in reverse order? Was this a production error? Or was this done on purpose? Is he telling the truth? Probably not. How does Desmond know Ben? Desmond tried to leave the island at the beginning of season 2, only to find his way back near the end of season 2. Ben showed up after Desmond left, and left before Desmond got back. The next time that Ben crossed the full group of Losties was when they were all at the radio tower. At this point in time, Desmond was in the Looking Glass station with Charlie. Shortly after the Looking Glass is when the Losties split between the beach and New Otherton. At the time of the split, Ben was tied up and Desmond was there. And the next time they see each other, supposedly, is when they meet up at last week's episode, This Place's Death. Problem solved? They're playing some kind of game, and we're just the pieces. It must be that flight. Bing. That is the same line that Claire's psychic, Richard Malkin, told her about Flight 815. What does that mean? Did the psychic know that one of the windows would be open? Has Richard Malkin been to the island before? Eloise Hawking is such a cute old woman. I can imagine her being a very eccentric grandmother. Thomas the Apostle. Doubting Thomas. I had this theory since season 1 that the characters on Lost represented the apostles of Christ, and that Locke himself was a representation of Jesus. Who's laughing now, Jackie? Wink. Can we say that at this point in time that Jack is doubting Thomas? Also, can we look back and say that Michael was Judas? Which brings us to this question of the week. in a comment below, name a Lostie and the apostle of Jesus Christ that they represent, and why. Is Penny the loose end that Ben has to tie up? Literally. Jack ends up using his dad's shoes that he got from his granddad Ray. During one of the Lost Missing Pieces episodes, Jack got a watch from his dad just before he married Sarah. Check out the link here. The watch could have been the item. It wasn't. But during this Missing Pieces episode is when we get the first reference to Jack's grandfather. Every time Jack wants to take a drink, something interrupts him. Did anyone else notice that? What made Kate change her mind about going back to the island? What the heck happened to Ben? Michael Emerson always finds a way to get the crap beat out of him no matter what role he's in. Keep in mind, Ben did call from the marina, which is where Penny had the boat. Jack had to pick up Locke's body just like he had to pick up his dad's body in Australia. Bing! Nice parallel. I just kept on waiting for Jack to look up and Locke's eyes would be open like in a bad horror film. Ah! A nice parallel with Jack at the ticket counter trying to get the body on the plane, just like in season 1. That guy who gave Jack condolences was an actor who played with Matthew Fox in the movie Vantage Point. Saeed was being escorted onto the plane just like Kate was in season 1. Who the heck is that woman with him? Why does Hurley have a guitar like Charlie did in season 1? How the heck did he know to bring it? Maybe a dead rock star told him? And Hurley has a Spanish comic book, just like in season 1. Actually, it was like a Spanish graphic novel with guys in biohazard suits on the back. But what does that matter when you're trying to recreate the exact circumstances of the crash? But the question on everyone's mind is, how the heck did Hurley get out of jail? Jackson row 8. And Ben runs onto the plane just like Hurley did in season 1. The other people on the plane, what's gonna happen to them? Who cares? They're the tailies. Who cares what happens to them? Frank Lapidus. He looks good. Just like Jack, a shave goes a long way. And he picked up this gig 8 months ago. Best line of the episode. We're not going to Guam, are we? How can you read? My mother taught me. Flat out lie. Okay, so Ben was reading James Joyce's Ulysses. That book has a lot of parallels to Homer's Odyssey. In the Odyssey, Odysseus' wife Penelope had 108 suitors while waiting for her husband to come home. Also, in the source code for the Ajira Airways website was the following. So off they started about Irish sport and Shonin games, the like of lawn tennis and about Hurley, and putting the stone and racy of the soil and building up a nation once again and all of that. This is a quote directly from James Joyce's Ulysses. Also, Jack having that letter on the plane was another reference to season 1. Sawyer with the letter that he wrote to the real Sawyer. And time flash and we're back. And ladies and gentlemen, for the second time this season, holy crap, it's Jin! How many more times are we gonna say that? Overall, this was one of the better episodes of the season. A lot more questions being asked, but a lot more answers being given. Bing. And now the results from last week's question of the week. I asked, what was your best lost joke? The actual joke winner from the week was the very long joke, how to make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches with the Losties. Check the link or in the sidebar. In feeling sick this week, I'm going to try and do this the best I can, but message board chatter. Many people are thinking that Kate is preggers. I don't buy it as usual, but it's just funny how people are jumping on it so quickly because Kate just did it with Jack. Also, a lot of people are assuming that Kate gave Aaron to Claire's mother. I apologize again for any lack of enthusiasm I may have had, being that I am kind of sick today. But we'll be back next week with episode 7, entitled The Life and Death of Jeremy Bentham. I cannot flip it out.